here I see a picture of myself, but it's my backside. Evidently, that side of me was my rear end. I think the quarterbacks liked it very much. But anyway, thank you for coming out. Many of you have rain coming into town tonight. Yeah. I know. I drove down from Auburn today. I went home yesterday, and I was home last night in Auburn. That's where one of my homes is. And it was storming pretty heavy up there this morning, early in the afternoon. So thanks for coming in the rain, and thank you for being here with us. It's our pleasure to have you here. We hope that you can see a little bit about us here in our facility. The girls will take you around and show you the locker room and the training rooms and the workout rooms and stuff like that. In the field, we have a field out back, second to none, with at least three fields on, one artificial surface field. And you'll really enjoy seeing it where our guys work out and all the state-of-the-art stuff that they have. When I was playing, there wasn't that state-of-the-art, you know. I don't think there's anybody, well, there's maybe a gentleman right down here that would have been around 50 years ago to see me play. But it's hard to believe that, you know, some of you see the 50 on the shirts and on the caps. That was 50 years ago this year that the Raiders started in 1960. Actually, it was November of 1959 when the draft took place the first year. And the first playing season was 1960, and that was my rookie year. I was a rookie that many years ago, and so the history of the Raiders runs through my veins. I've been here all these years on almost every occasion in Los Angeles. I didn't move to LA, but I was there weekly, and naturally I've been in Oakland since day one. So the history of the Raiders, like I say, runs in my veins, and you can't take it away. And you can't, like we all say, once a Raider, always a Raider. Yeah. Once a Raider fan, always a Raider fan as well. We appreciate very much as players. That's something that we appreciate very much in the administration here of the Raiders as well, because right from Mr. Davis on down to the very lowly ball boy, we appreciate all our fans and everything that you guys ever do. You're passionate people. You know, some people around the country say those Raider fans are crazy. And no, you're not. You're a family of fans. And I know doggone well that you feel the same way when you go out to a game. Sometimes you get overserved, you get some bad ice cubes or something, but you got to kind of watch that. You got to kind of watch that because, you know, I know that my wife wouldn't respect me very much if I was, you know, sucking on too many ice cubes. But anyway, you are passionate people, and that's why you're Raider fans, and that's why it's been so great for us all these years. And it's just exciting for me to be with you. Throughout this off-season so far, we've had a lot of groups come in. I've spoken to a lot of groups about the Raiders, and it's quite enjoyable for me because it brings back a lot of memories. As I talk to you, I will get into some things I'm going to ask you, or you can ask me some questions in a little while, and that'll bring up some more talking points for me. And it's a lot of fun because it brings me to a level where I can reminisce a little bit more about what went on throughout those years. Some of the players you might have questions about that are still out there and around. We've lost some players due to death, and sad, but you know, it happens to everybody in the world, and what more can you do about it? But anyway, at this time, I'd like to open the floor to some questions if you have questions, and I'm sure you do. Yes?
What do you miss about playing on the field or being with the team?
What do I miss not being with the team and on the field? Well, I tell you what, the absence of my play was really felt for about maybe 4 years after I retired. The hardest time was naturally the week following my retirement, because I retired in my 16th year. I played against the 49ers. My last game I played was against the 49ers. Beat the heck out of them. The next weekend, I was dressed in civilian clothes. I had a shirt and tie on with a suit coat, and I was sitting in front of Mr. Davis, where you see me now most of the time. And my throat was kind of choked up, and was very despondent over the fact that when they said, "And at center, number 50, Dave Dalby." And I was sitting there, and I used to be the one that did that for, 16 years. I ran out on the field. Then the next week in Baltimore, Dave Dalby got hurt. And I thought, oh, geez, I looked at Mr. Davis, he looked at me, he says, "Can you go next week?" I said, "If you want me to go next week, I'll go next week, no problem." And, but it never happened. Dave was able to come back. But yes, indeed, I had some down moments. Naturally, my family, my wife, my children, my mom and dad, they all kind of felt the same way for me and also for themselves, because it was a lot of fun for a lot of years. It was a lot of not really the recognition is important to us ball players. I think the recognition that I really loved was just a pat on the back. I used to like to have people pat me on the back in Safeway or wherever I was around town here. I lived in Fremont for a while. I lived in San Leandro, and they'd come by and say, "Boy, you had a good game Sunday, Jim. Way to go." Now that is good as a six-pack of beer. So, you know how we used to drink a lot of beer. It's just that's the way it feels.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Two questions. I heard you say something earlier about state of the art. If you would have had this state of the art back, and not want to say way back, make you sound old or anything like that. And the second question was, how does it feel to be sitting in front of Mr. Davis like that in a game? Because we see, when it goes up to him and you're there like his right-hand man, and what kind of conversations is that like when I know we got kids in here, I wonder if you could use some of those words.
Conversations between Mr. Davis and I have fluctuated from a lot of different things. Some things I don't want to mention or I don't repeat. But we've had great conversations. He's a man I respect tremendously. He's the most brilliant football person I've ever met. He taught me all the football I know and helped me, become the greatness that I was. And so that's kind of that question answered. What was the first one again?
The one was the state of the art. You said back in your time, if you would have had.
When I came to Oakland, I weighed 217 pounds.
Wow.
And when I retired, I weighed 276. My stomach was flat at 276.
Wow.
Now, we didn't have the weights that they do now. You'll see everything they have here. Just think how much bigger I'd have been if I'd have had all those weights. That's state of the art, plus also the training procedures and the various different training things that they do in there to build certain muscle groups in their body that helps them block better, helps them take on a tackle, helps them rip guys and all that type of stuff. We did that ourselves. We had an experiment on ourselves. We didn't have a trainer that just trained us with weights like we do now.
Wow.